Blessings from the foundation of children of the sun. And it is with great amount of joy and gratitude that I deliver this audio narrative. Being so strongly prompted by the Ascended Master El Moria, Chohan of the Blue Ray of Divine Will. The purpose of this audio is to aid in the understanding of the next collective initiation for planetary light servers. This is the initiation of the Monadic Absorption. This audio can be used as support for your personal contemplations and sharing with those close to you. Introduction. Through the influence of the potent celestial alignments now upon us, monadic level energy is catalyzing an instant evolution of consciousness in the spiritually awakened, to spawn a quantum leap of the entire four-body system. This is a quickening that far surpasses any initiatory process ever experienced in the history of human evolution on Earth. We are being swiftly prepared for the ultimate transfiguration into our I Am avatar blueprint of androgyny. This is the state in which our inner male and female polarities are completely balanced. We walk not identified as either a man or a woman, but from a greatly expanded DNA expression, as our God Self reveals more profoundly through the formed expression. This catalyzes a completely new way of relating in which each of us operates as a sovereign entity, fully balanced and centered from within. This attitude of conscious living serves as a precursor to the emergence of sacred relating with any and all others who are also operating from this high-level attunement. As planetary light servers, specifically those in attunement with the mission of Children of the Sun, our role is to consciously receive and physically integrate these incoming light encodements in sufficient numbers. This embodied multi-dimensional templating can then be transferred to and through the planetary crystalline grid, accessible to the higher consciousness of all humanity, while impulsing the ascension frequency patterns into the global mass mind. The ascension process. The journey of ascension is simply a return to our origin. At our particular level of human evolution, we are making transition into a multidimensional consciousness perception. To do this, we must reconcile spirit and matter in this third dimensional reality by increasing our vibration and raising our internal fire energy, known as the Kundalini force. For those of us who are remaining in service to the planet, the ascension is a process of initiation in which our focus is placed upon the merging of our individualized human personality body with our soul vehicle, and then ultimately with our monad, to become one unified being here on Earth. Let's remember that we are a tiny humanized aspect of our greater God Self. This God Self is that which is referred to as the monad, or the I Am Presence. This magnificent divine aspect of our human self has created the so-called Oversoul, which is essentially the soul family to which our individual soul belongs. Our individual soul is that part of ourself that reincarnates over and over again in order to evolve and ultimately return to the monadic source. Our monad contains many souls. Our human personality and our soul are individualized aspects of a group of souls, and even a group of monads, which are all ascending. This is why we are constantly referring to the group avatar, or the group I Am. We are all aspects of each other, coming back into a grand merge with each other, even with the ascended masters that we so love and adore, as one greater being. The mighty I Am Presence is, in truth, a God Self containing all of us as aspects of itself. It is not just us, our individual consciousness, that ascends, but all of the souls and oversouls that make up our monad. In understanding this, and to make real progress upon the ascension path, we must get our entire oversoul and monadic family working within the same resonant frequencies. All soul extensions that we are connected to must also become clear, integrated, and unified from the greater purpose of the I Am Presence. This is why we must help as many people as possible in our personal sphere of influence. Commencement of the monadic merge. Through our direct experiences, we have learned that in order to expand into multi-dimensional blueprinting, we are required to let go of all emotional and mental attachments of the material world. This includes fame, fortune, power, selfishness, attachments to people and family, letting go of our self-image, reputation, attachments to linear concepts, belief systems, etc. The collective initiation endured by many planetary light servers has related to the release of material plane attachment and self-identification as directed by free will and the desires of the controlling ego. As we accomplish this rather challenging process to completely surrender the personality body, we advance to the next stage of accelerated ascension. The initiation now being presented to the collective light server grouping actually commences the merger with our group monad. That aspect of our greater self, which is the group I am presence of our individualized human aspect. This initiation is somewhat similar to the process of soul merge, only it is the beginning stages of monadic absorption and can only be taken by those with high levels of embodied and stabilized light quotient. This is the phase when direct contact is actualized between the monad and the surrendered personality body. The gap in consciousness between spirit and matter is bridged by a well-developed antakarana. The personality becomes a direct instrument of service under the direction of the monad, which bypasses the soul. The soul then becomes redundant, and it is absorbed back into the monad. Once we are in the absorption process by the monad which sent us forth, we begin expressing more prominently the monadic ray of that source itself. The monadic ray greatly influences our mental body. It causes the mind to achieve absolute clarity of vision and releases the human from the limitations of form. This all leads us into our final initiation of Earth Plane Human Ascension, as we completely return to the monad and merge with the group I am, while retaining a physical light body form. This is the attainment of fifth dimensional consciousness, which is characterized by the experience of oneness. Transcending love from the personality. To propel this current initiation of the monadic absorption into high momentum, we are greatly supported by the surging forces of incomprehensible love from the galactic center. These omnipotent, cohesive forces are transforming our desire nature, or the conditional love from the personality nature, linking us up with the greater magnetism of the love aspect on the Buddhic plane, which is the plane of unity consciousness. The law of magnetic control. The universal law of magnetic control will begin to take greater effect in more of the planetary light servers, those of us who are now advancing with a greater percentage of bodily light quotient. As one of the main laws of our solar system, the law of magnetic control operates from the Buddhic plane as it consumes and crystallizes the static human condition. Full control of the personality body is overtaken by the monad through the egoic vehicle. In our advancement to a fifth dimensional existence, the egoic vehicle still remains in the human form, however, in a transcended state, unified with its source. The lower human aspect serves as the instrument through which the higher is functioning, and through the triad energy of divine will, love wisdom, which is the Christ principle, and active intelligence. Once our egoic vehicle is surrendered back into the light of the monad, a new multi-dimensional operating system completely overrides the human design. Deeper, more intricate physical restructuring takes place within the body, immediately removing any remaining imprints of duality within our entire holographic energy matrix. As our human consciousness fades further and further from any familiar coordinates, there is a feeling of being erased, and at the same time being absorbed into the light. In this physical transformation, likened to a change of mental software, the neural patterns in the physical body endure a process of recodement. Nerve synapses are instantly reconnecting as we make our swift return to wholeness. We are being rewired so that the higher mental body is more accessible, to directly bridge with our monad in the universal light of harmonic union and unconditional love. As you move into this new vibration, taking care of and nurturing the physical body is the highest priority in order to both integrate and maintain stability each and every step of the way. This one point cannot be emphasized enough. Transcending sexual desire and control patterns. It is during this phase that many of us transcend the sexual desire and any related dysfunction. This especially concerns the force which brings about the physical merging as a result of our responses to the body's animal nature. This is referring to such acts as sexual sensory pleasure, self-oriented sexual control, sexual abuse, and imbalanced emotional patterns as a result of the sexual identity and appetite. This is not to say that celibacy is required for ascension. It is the addiction to sexual relating as a pleasure-seeking desire or as a barrier to self-love that is to be examined. It is the qualifying intention that determines the vibration of the sexual intimacy. Both sexes strongly identify with the sexual centers, the genitals, which becomes the primary driving force behind existence. There is a belief in the need to express ourselves from our gender identification and sexually for pleasure. This is another great illusion of our attachment to the senses. Many of us are still embarrassed or carry self-worth issues around our bodies, and especially in our nakedness to others. Our egos have caused us to judge ourselves and others based on the size and function of our sexual centers and the overall sexual desirability of our bodies. This contributes to criticizing the perfection of God's design in each of us. Here are some key questions that light seekers need to ask themselves. Are you the master of your sexuality, or is it the master of you? Does the flow of your sexuality serve the lower self or the higher self? In other words, does your sexuality serve love and intimacy, or just materialistic animal pleasure? Is your sexuality being used also for the raising of your kundalini and brain illumination, or just for a second chakra release? Are you embarrassed or feel ugly to be naked in front of others? If yes, why? Do you judge your body's genitals or ability to perform sexual intimacy? If yes, why? Sexuality was created by God to be enjoyed as a communication device in service of love. When used in service of the higher self, it becomes a most sacred consecration. As we expand beyond our physical senses, we begin to experience the infinite bliss that is available to us through our connection to God. Sexuality and procreation occurs through the divine impulse of pure thought and divine love as union with God's source. As we transcend the pool of the lower chakras and become the master of our threefold personality, the physical body, the emotional body, and the mental body, these chakras fold up into our heart center, and we become radiators of unconditional love. These patterns are balanced by a higher expression of the law when the human system is again androgynous, and everyone is truly regarded as an equal expression of God. It is then that the patterns of sexual lust and desire are transmuted into their higher frequency expressions of joy, creativity, compassion, and union with the divinity in all things and all people. Transcending gender identification. We now share this as another contemplation. The law of gender embodies the truth that gender is manifested in everything. The masculine and feminine is ever at work on all planes of causation. On the higher planes, gender expresses through higher forms of manifestation. It works in the direction of generation, regeneration, and co-creation. All life forms contain the two elements of gender, masculine and feminine. On the great physical plane, the sexes of all species are manifested as male and female, and the role they play in sexual reproduction. On the great mental plane, gender manifests as masculine and feminine energies that exist within each and every person. Every male has its female element, and every female has its male element. On the great spiritual plane, gender manifests as the father-mother principle of the infinite omnipresent God, in whose mind the universe is conceived and firmly held. It is written, we all live, move, and have our being within God. In the Earth ascension process, the human personality achieves the merger of God, and the self is seen as neither male or female, but as one blended, androgynous whole. In closing, our expanded human and planetary design is being alchemically reconstructed by the incoming light-encoded frequencies, which are anchoring the foundational overlays of multidimensional templating within the physical plane. This all is ushering in the next stage of DNA activation and energy blueprint configuration. We are all being assisted energetically and structurally to reunite with our wholeness as an androgynous being in union with our source of life, the mighty I Am Presence. It is from this reintegrated wholeness that we are able to interpret information from the levels of omnipresent oneness, and in a manner that will raise us collectively into infinitely powerful, incredibly loving beings of tremendous wisdom. Jesus the Christ prophesied this with reference to the untouchables who shall walk the earth. As we incorporate this new programming, we will operate more deeply and confidently from a balanced and magnificent mantle of cosmic love, cosmic wisdom, and cosmic power. We simultaneously give great service to Mother Earth, our galaxy, and entire universe. Through our willingness to completely remove the holographic imprint of separation from our own personal vehicles, we help to transmute gender division and its distortions from the macro levels, including war and conflict, hatred and victimhood, suppression, control, and sexual abuse, to name a few. Thank you so very much for sharing your time. May your ascension journey be embraced in the fullness of divine grace and the love from Venus and our beloved Mother Earth. God bless you with the light of 1,000 suns. I love you.